Southern Miss takes round one. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, big night in the Sunbelt. Arkansas State qualifies for the tournament. First time since 2021, and no one seems to want to finish 10th. We'll get to all of that. But the big game, and we've been waiting for it for a while, Troy and Southern Miss. Good ball game. Certainly interesting finish. It was 4-3. Can't ask for anything more than that. Southern Miss hangs on. I guess I was looking, I don't know. Maybe it could just be me. All right, it was a one-run ball game. It ended with two guys on in scoring position. It very well could have gone off the first baseman glove, and Troy could have won it. And, you know, Southern Miss fans are going to say, you wanted Troy to win it. No, I wanted JB Middleton to throw a one-hit shutout, or I wanted Brooks Bryant to hit a three-run home run. I guess that's what I was looking for. I don't know. I will say at one point in time, it was like in the 8th inning, and the James Madison Texas State game was like in the 5th. I'm like, these things started at the same time. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, Troy got on top. First, they got on the board, I believe. Was it in the first? It was in the 2nd inning. So Troy got on the board in the 1st inning. Actually, Southern Miss got 2 on in, I thought, in the 1st inning, and they did not score. They had runners on at 1st and 3rd, and it looked like the bats were coming right away from Southern Miss. And they did not score. They left a couple of runners on base. Troy got on the board in the 2nd inning. They take a 1-0 lead. The starter for Troy and his 4.5 ERA is matching JB Middleton. Noah Thigpen. Big spot for him going up against who may be the pitcher of the year in the Sun Belt. 1 out, nobody on. Ground ball to 3rd, rather routine, and bad throw by Jimmy Janicki. Just short hops the first baseman. Cavell can't come up with it, and it opens up the door. All right. 3 unearned runs. Now, there's part of this where you say, hey, the first baseman can come up with it, or there was a short hop, but the pitcher needs to pick up his fielder too, right? There's still 1 out and 1 on. It doesn't necessarily need to lead to 3 runs, but it does, right? The first run comes home on the sac fly, which would have been the 3rd out of the inning. But there should have been 2 outs and nobody on in the 4th inning, and Southern Miss was doing nothing. All right, that doesn't mean nothing would have happened after 2 outs and nobody on, but that's would have been the situation. It would have been 1-0, 2 outs, nobody on base, and he's rolling. But Southern Miss gets 3 runs across, and it's 3-1 Southern Miss. Troy scrapes across a couple of runs. They do get 1 in the bottom half of the 4th inning. They do take advantage of the umpiring behind the plate. Again, our angle, and it is what it is. The angle's not great because you got to be able to see from behind the pitcher, right? So, and you can't get them too high because the stadiums aren't built that much. You're on scaffolding, and you get a 20-mile-per-hour breeze you're going over. So, sometimes the angle doesn't look great, telling inside or not, but both sides, looking at my Twitter feed, did not like the strike zone of the umpire. However, it did appear, and just to let you know, obviously the ESPN Plus guys are Troy broadcasters, and they even thought that the Troy batter went around in the fourth inning. That would have been Janicki, as it turns out, picking up the slack due to the error, or helping himself out after the error. That brought home a run, made it 3-2. They still had a couple of guys on base, couldn't bring anybody home. All right. Troy, again, the pitching is keeping Southern Miss at bay. They're really not doing anything. And then all of a sudden, Troy gets something going in the seventh inning. They tie it up. Got a chance to take the lead. You just don't know against a team like Southern Miss when you're going to have that chance. It appeared they had Southern Miss on the ropes because JB Middleton was brought out of the game in the sixth. He pitched okay. I thought he pitched good enough to win, although he didn't get the win. You know, what was his line? I did tweet it out. It was good. It wasn't great. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. The 1 walk, 6 strikeouts is pretty good. That's very good. The wild pitch and the hit by pitch isn't great. But 2 runs on 4 hits in 6 innings, technically, that's a quality start in the big leagues, which I don't agree with their stats. Usually a quality start is actually 3 runs. But that's like a 4.5 ERA in the big leagues. And this is actually a 3 ERA. A quality start is 3 runs in 6 innings. But that's a 4.5 ERA. Here he gave up 2 runs, which is a 3 ERA in 6 innings. So a good but not dominating performance by any stretch of the imagination, but solid. And obviously everybody's going to go on short rest, so there's no reason to extend him any more than necessary. So I understand taking out JB Middleton because he's going to be pitching on Wednesday or Thursday of next week, right? So if it is Thursday, it isn't short rest, but if it is Wednesday, it is short rest. So no reason to push him. But coming up to save the day in the top half of the 9th inning was Joey Urban. And so he hits a leadoff home run. Was it on the first pitch? Let me see if I can figure that one out because it happened really quickly in the 8th inning. No, it was on an 0-2 pitch, in fact, to, I'd say straightaway center field, but that Troy field is a little bit oddly shaped. It sort of was curving away from the center fielder and went over the 400-foot mark, right? Because that Trojan wall juts out right to right field is not very deep. It's like 310, but it goes deep straight out to that 400-foot mark, and he cleared that. So Joey Urban saves the day. Southern Miss does put 2 on the board, or does get 2 on base in the 9th inning, but can't do anything. I don't have a problem with him bunting, except you pop up. That's bad execution. Not bad strategy, bad execution, because you put 2 on base on runners at second and third, you're bound to get 1 run home to at least tie the game up. Now you got 2 runners in scoring position. Also, I don't necessarily need to go to extra innings these days. I don't need that either. I don't need a 15-inning ball game in the first game of a weekend series. So we'll try to win it or lose it in this fashion. And let's shut out it. Give the Southern Miss first baseman some props as well, because it looks like it's a routine play, but it's not. Russo makes a nice backhanded play to save the ball game. That very easily could have, gone off his glove and down the first base line and easily scored 2 runs, and that would have been the ball game. So Southern Miss takes the ball game 4-3. Let's see if their RPI has moved up just yet. Coastal's move. We'll get to Coastal. All right. Southern Miss did move up to 24. They moved up 6 spots. All right. They went right past Northeastern. Northeastern actually Technically, they've gone up a little bit from the week, but they actually went down a couple. I think they were 26th. They've only won, 22 in a row, something along those lines, but they're down to 28th. Troy did not drop at all just yet. In fact, they may have moved up one. They went from 39 to 38. So, although it does say even for the week. So, all right. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll run through the rest of the Sun Belt. But the big ball game was Southern Miss taking down Troy 4-3. Now, a lot of pressure on Troy to win on Friday to avoid losing their first series of the season. Lots of pressure on the Trojans come Friday. All right, let me tell you a little bit about Game Time. The NFL schedule release just dropped a couple of days ago, and you better believe I'm already looking at my fall calendar and picking which games to hit. You'll find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. And with Game Time Guarantee, your tickets are 100% authentic and will arrive on time. And you'll always get the best price with fees included, and so you'll see what you'll pay. If you never use Game Time to grab NFL seats, now's the time. It's seriously a game day upgrade. I'm looking at, again, the Jaguars are coming to play Indianapolis. That's Travis Hunter. We got Cam Ward and the Titans coming to play Indianapolis. That's the number one pick. So I got a bunch of good players coming to play the Colts. And I haven't been to a lot of NFL games as of late. Certainly not as a fan. So I'm looking to use Game Time to hook me up with the tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt. Little technical difficulties. Your teams every day. We'll get to the Coastal win as Southern Miss wins their 13th in a row. Coastal had to overcome a little bit. They won their 12th. But how about Arkansas State and Mike Silva? All right, Mike Silva took Nichols to the NCAAs last year. In fact, he may have been back-to-back years. And now he's taken Arkansas State to the Sun Belt Conference Tournament for the first time since 2021. All right. And sometimes teams like Southern Miss, the Cajuns, Coastal, we take that stuff, they take that stuff for granted, right? Like the Cajuns aren't going to the NCAA tournament this year. They're not winning the conference tournament. They ain't going, all right? They certainly shouldn't take it for granted, but they probably do, all right? You see all the people excited about Arkansas State just going to the tournament. They're probably not winning it, but it's a nice first step in what Mike Silva has done, right? They got a new field, probably will continue to upgrade the facilities. And I don't think Arkansas State's going to be able to compete with one of the top three teams, although they just beat Troy on Sunday. So maybe they beat Troy. They stopped from being swept. And it's not like you have to win 3 games against Troy. Maybe Arkansas State does beat one team that they're not supposed to. And I've said that for the last few weeks because I think it is, again, Coastal, Southern Miss, Cajuns technically have a better pitching staff, but I don't know what's going on with the Cajuns. As Arkansas State beats UL 3-0. The bats just don't show up. And if you look at the Cajuns' batting averages, 274, 143. Caleb Stelly's hitting 314. Connor Higgs is having a good year at 343, but 216, 111, 275, 274, 222, 179, and 188. I mean, no one's doing anything there offensively. Chase Morgan pitched okay. All right. 1 run on 4 base hits in 4 innings of work, 1 walk and a strikeout. Pitching was okay. They gave up, 3 runs, scattered 11 hits, 2 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Usually that would get you a win playing in the Tig. It did not tonight. Arkansas State pitched them. Gailey went 2 innings. Gave up 2 hits in 6 innings. Struck out 3. Arkansas State did not walk anybody tonight. They gave up a collective 4 base hits. That game, by the way, I believe finished before the Southern Miss game. Is that he had a few pitching changes in that other one. This game didn't take very long at all. 2 hours and 25 minutes. You like those games that move right along. So Arkansas State qualifies. They still have a shot for a 6 seed, to be honest with you. A little bit of a long shot, but for some reason, the Old Dominion record has not updated. They are 15 and 13, so they're in the same spot as the Cajuns. Arkansas State is 13 and 15, so Old Dominion is same record as the Cajuns, 15 and 13. All right. And so Arkansas State is moving up. We'll see if, it is feasible that Arkansas State, again, we don't think so, and Old Dominion could be tied along with the Cajuns for that fact of the matter. And you want to see my head explode with tiebreakers, 3 tiebreakers for 2 spots in the top 6. I'm going to let someone else figure that one out. All right. Speaking of Coastal Carolina, although I don't think I was. Coastal Carolina, speaking of ODU, there we go. They were leading Coastal Carolina 3-1. Jacob Morrison was not pitching on short rest. He, I guess, is going to be pitching later today, which is going to be interesting come the conference tournament, because I would presume he's not going to pitch until Thursday or Friday next week. So he's going to be held out of Wednesday. He's certainly not pitching Friday to Wednesday in the conference tournament. So we'll see what happens there. He may pitch Friday to Thursday. So Coastal's bats were a little bit quiet, down 3-1. They did tie it up heading into the 9th inning, and then they scored 3 in the 9th to beat ODU 6-3. So Coastal Carolina, they've clinched the regular season, a share of it anyways, with 2 to play and have a 2-game lead on Southern Miss. So at the very least, Coastal Carolina has clinched the regular season title in the Sun Belt. 1 more win or a Southern Miss loss, and they will be the number 1 seed in the tournament next week. So a nice win for Coastal Carolina. They've now won 12 in a row. Southern Miss has now won 13 in a row. All right. All right. Let's take one more timeout. We'll come back. And does anybody want to finish 10th? It does not appear so. And we'll tell you about the rest of the action in the Sun Belt as well, right after I tell you about Wayfair. The days are getting longer, the weather's warming up, and people are spending more time outside, which means it's a perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big backyard or small, Wayfair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials makes it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, they've got it all, and at prices that can fit your budget. Grab a new patio dining set and some string lights from Wayfair to help extend your outdoor space. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture this summer. Get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Quick reminder, shelves over there. Wayfair, desk, Wayfair. If I can put these things together, you can put these things together. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, to quickly recap, coming into Thursday's action, App State and Arkansas State were tied for 9th. All right. So if you separated them, one would be 9th and one would be 10th. All right. So checking out the standings, Arkansas State is now technically, I guess they're still tied for 9th. They're technically still tied for 9th. App State has fallen to 10th. All right. App State and South Alabama both lost. Unbelievable. Although I guess Georgia State, also now in the battle, they won. All right. South Alabama went to ULM and beat the Warhawks, who have not won in 2 weeks. They lost 10 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have not won since April 25th when they beat Old Dominion. Jeez, that's a long time ago. And South Alabama lost 4-0. Bats doing nothing. Load the bases up in the 9th. They had a bad call go against them, but that's not why they lost. They lost 4-0. App State lost at home. They lost 4-2 to Georgia State. So App State with a win could have clinched the 10th spot. They both lost. Again, you're not going to get me into the tiebreaker thing. If South Alabama had won, they'd be 1 game back with 2 to play. Instead, they're 2 games back with 2 to play. So now an App State win or South Alabama loss, South Alabama is eliminated. However, Georgia State now has a shot as they are also 2 games out. They happen to be playing App State. So they're tied with South Alabama. It does all crazy. All right, let's see what else we got. Meanwhile, James Madison playing Texas State. James Madison, this game took forever. James Madison beats Texas State 9-4. Again, Texas State's had just an odd season. This game did take forever, 3 hours and 35 minutes. And the only other ball game I think we haven't spoken about is Marshall hangs on to defeat Georgia Southern 10-8. Marshall could be looking at the 4 seed the way they are playing. Let's see. Marshall is 14-14. They are 1 game behind the Cajuns and Old Dominion. All right. It appears that those top 3 teams are all set. For whatever reason, the Sun Belt standings has not updated Coastal Carolina and Old Dominion. Everybody else has been updated with 28 games. Okay. All right. Again, so let's check out the RPI quickly because this thing, again, tends to change on a regular basis. So Southern Miss popped to 24. I did see, was it D1 baseball? Aaron Fitt thinks that Southern Miss has a shot at hosting. I mean, they did pop 6 spots. So if you beat Troy again, the thing is, you got to sweep them because if you just win the series, you're going to fall and you're not going to be in a position to host. So if you pop 6 more spots, you're going to be at 18. But if you lose one, you're going to drop down to 20. So you're not going to be much in a position to host. You'd obviously have to win the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Now, if you sweep them, you may be in a position to host. So we'll see. The thing is, it's very interesting, right? Because Tennessee is sitting there at 16 RPI. All right, they are 40 and 13. They have this strength of schedule that's 30. Their non-conference strength of schedule is 218, right? And so their non-conference record is 25-1. Well, I shouldn't be impressed with that, right? Their conference record is 15-12. I know they play in the SEC. I know it's difficult, but I'm not going to be impressed with a 25-1 record when your non-conference schedule is 218th. That just does not, as Shania once said, that does not impress me much. All right. I don't know how that gets into the Locked On Sunbelt podcast, but that's what I'm coming up with. All right. And Troy still sitting at 38. All right. My guy again, Glavin at Northeastern, 28. Again, they had gone up a couple and they have fallen back. Northeastern always plays during the day. So they're done by 6 o'clock when everybody else is just starting. So we'll see how that goes. Again, you can see it they'll be done before everyone else starts. And again, I don't get off weekends. So again, my days are all screwed up. Today is Friday. All right. And plus my schedule changed with what I was doing on Thursday. So I'm all confused. All right. All right. So to recap, Southern Miss takes round 1. I don't know why I think the game was anticlimactic. It really wasn't, right? I mean, a little deflating if you're Troy, because you kind of gave the game away. Not kind of, you did. And you battled back, and you were in a position to win it, and you didn't. Southern Miss did what they had to do to win it. They pitched enough. They hit enough. And here's the difference. They played defense. All right. I will say Southern Miss had a shot to break it open, and they got snake bit a little bit, right? They hit a tapper in front of the plate. If that's 5 feet up the first base line or 10 feet up the first base line, it's a run, right? But it sits right in front of the plate. Can't run home, right? Next one is a BB line drive to second. You can't hit it any harder. You just happen to hit it right to the second baseman. So you kind of got a little bit snake bit there. And then Joey Urban, boom, home run. Troy ties it up. They couldn't even, and on an 0-2 pitch, right? So Southern Miss with a nice win. Again, JB Middleton pitched well. I don't think he pitched great. They weren't going to extend him because he's going to pitch either, Wednesday or Thursday come the Sun Belt Conference tournament. It would appear, I'm going to guess, because he only pitched 6 innings, and it depends on who he's going to pitch against. He very, very well may pitch on Wednesday. We shall see. You may save him. I don't know if you want to roll those dice, but do you save him and have him pitch in a much bigger matchup on Thursday and or Friday, depending on when that big matchup would come. All right. We will be back. We'll have updates throughout the week as well. And again, be on the lookout. We'll probably play it Monday. Matt Stewart will have the call of the Sun Belt Conference tournament, and we will preview said tournament come Monday. All right. Obviously, everything wraps up on Saturday, so that gives us a couple of days to catch up, and it'll be up on Monday's episode. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to round 2 of Southern Miss and Troy. We will be all over it. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great Friday, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Look for the Matt Stewart preview episode come Monday.